Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I want to do a little bit of a live stream talking about some moves that the Boston Bruins are going to make, because I think everybody here at this point knows we're going to see some moves here in this offseason, and Don Sweeney's made me at least believe that something's going to happen this offseason. Something big is going to happen this offseason. I figured, perfect time to do a live stream before anything actually happens, talk about just some players I spoke about in some videos, some that I haven't yet. Got a lot of stuff that I want to go over here, and I got a list of them here, and we'll be going over, but I will give it a moment here, let some people get in before we start getting into the players, because I got a lot of them, and I want to kind of go over the list that I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 6 players right now, and a kind of a special 7th one. So we'll give it a few minutes before we hop into these players here. But yeah, how's everybody doing? I haven't live streamed since the playoffs, but we're gonna get back now. It's a new season, a new hope that I have for what we're gonna see next season, but still a lot of stuff that will have to be done by Don Sweeney, Cam Neely, Jim Montgomery, everybody in the management here, before anything actually happens. But I'm also gonna feature some new graphics. Hopefully they'll be all fine and working in every situation that we need, but time will tell. I guess we can say time will tell before any of this happens. But and I'll start up with the first one here. If anybody wants to put some opinions in the chat, and this is one that I've spoken about a lot. I haven't spoken about this Patrick Kane one yet specifically. That's going to be in a video, likely after the stream goes up as a video. But Jonathan Marchessault, Patrick Kane, and Tyler Bertuzzi are potential options for the Bruins this summer. And I'm a big fan of some of these names here. There's a few that I got a bit of a problem with that I won't be say I'm mad with, but I wouldn't, ideally like to see them. How's it going, everybody? Thank you, Christopher. I do appreciate that. I'll be keeping them up this whole offseason. It's only the beginning yet. We're going to have a lot of stuff going. But what does everybody think about any of these players? Is there a favorite here in this one? I'm going to say Tyler Bertuzzi is probably the most ideal one here that I'm thinking for the Boston Bruins right now. Only just above Jonathan Marchessault. And I'll give my 2 cents on Patrick Kane a bit later, but it's hard to go wrong with a guy like Patrick Kane, especially in the situation the Bruins are in right now. But I'm still thinking that Patrick Kane, he's still not that guy that I think we need right now. And I'll explain that, like I said, in a minute. But I'll pull up some of the graphics of the new graphics. Tyler Bertuzzi, 80 games, 21 goals, 22 points this season. Started off horribly with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we've seen what he could do in the playoffs, what happened as of late in this the end of the regular season. He really picked up that pace, and if he can started the season at that rate, he would have been in a very good position for the whole season. Probably would have been close to 70, 80 points, I guess we'll say. And for Tyler Bertuzzi, not a bad gig at all. That might be a bit high, but still. We're gonna assume that he could be that good. Yeah. So Tyler Bertuzzi, he's the guy we need. The former Bruin come back, get that physicality and everything going. It really is a player that I think I'd like to see, and many other Bruins fans would like to see back on this roster. But how about Stamkos? Stamkos is one as well. Actually, you're right. I did not feature him in any of these, but another one that I will pull up a few things a bit later and kind of talk about him, because he's still another top one that I think the Bruins are going to be one of the front runners for and going full out for him. It might be pretty tough because I think that he's going to want to go back to Tampa. Tampa wants him and the whole history that they have, but I would really like to see him in a Bruins uniform, and that would really suit what this team needs. The centerman, great offensive scoring ability, quick, even though he's older now at this point in his career, still yet a very, very good player that will change the path of this Bruins team next season. That's exactly right. Don't overpay for Tyler Bertuzzi. That's one thing that I think if we do end up re-signing Jake DeBrusk, that has to be the minimum criteria that we see as well. That you can't overpay him. We know DeBrusk and the Bruins are far apart, but if we can get him at a cheaper price than what he wants, than what he's making now, if he's making close to what he's making now, I'll say, I won't complain about that. That's still not a bad contract, especially with the cap going up over the next few years, being a playoff performer, but very, very hot and cold in the regular season, and that's one thing that is going to have to take into consideration with his contracts, and I hope that the Bruins use that to their advantage in his contract negotiations with his agent to try and lower that price down. But if that does happen, Steven Stamkos, Tyler Bertuzzi, Jake DeBrusk, any of those guys, if we can get them at a half decent price, I like the idea. How's it going, MLS? How's it going? I will keep you updates all summer. Don't worry. I do appreciate the support, though. A lot of updates can be coming soon too, as I have been here so far. But move on to the second one, and Jonathan Marchessault. Same from that that article or the Athletic one. Kind of talking about some speed that they're going to need. And Jonathan Marchessault will be an excellent guy for that. 5'9", 33 years old, but very, very, very quick. And one thing that I like about him is he's been a leader on a team for a very long time with a 42-goal campaign this season, 27 assists, 69 points. A -2 on Vegas, though, which is something that, well, I'm not going to take too much into consideration, but being a minus on Vegas is not, I would say, ideal. But I would really like the idea of Jonathan Marchessault. Don't have that physicality that Tyler Bertuzzi brings, but he's a very good leader, especially at 33, and from what he's been doing since his beginning in Vegas. And he's been one of the few players that on Vegas I've not minded. If you know me, I hate Vegas. I hate the Vegas Golden Knights. Probably the only NHL team that I actually despise. But he's one of the players that I'm okay with on the team. Elias Lindholm has got to be one of the front runners of acquired. MLS, that is one that I'm going to be talking about later. One that I'll touch on a bit now, but I'll go deeper into later. I'm a big fan of him. I think that the Bruins are going to also be about the same, if not more, pushing for him than Steven Stamkos, just because they tried to at the deadline. Ultimately didn't end up doing it, went to the Canucks, but I think that they have a pretty good chance if he does not go back to the Canucks. Then what we'll see from a few other teams, at least, in this whole offseason. Juicy was on the Bruins when they lost in the first round. Now he's on Toronto when they lost. That's one thing that's a bit concerning, Hopefully it's not a trend with him. But the difference, I think I've seen a difference in the Tyler Bertuzzi from the Bruins and the Tyler Bertuzzi from the Maple Leafs. He seemed to take a more important role and a bit more of an offensive, talented player, I'll say. But I think he would be a better addition to this team than a few other players that would be in his scenario if it was not to be him and Tyler Bertuzzi in free agency. If they were to go after someone else, I'm trying to say, like a lower tier winger, I think Tyler Bertuzzi would be the better option for the Bruins, at least right now. I'm not saying for any other team, but for the Bruins, what they need right now, that is the case. I think they should be looking for a centerman mid to late age 20s. Stop bringing 33-year-olds. I know they want to win now, but I agree, Chris. That's one thing I really agree on, and that's kind of what I'm saying about Bertuzzi, Marchessault, and Patrick Kane. Those are all older guys, apart from Bertuzzi, but the Marchessault, Patrick Kane, two older guys. They will help out the Bruins, but it's just I wouldn't say a rental, but it's a 2 to 3 season at most rental before they start to, regress a lot and potentially retire. You never know. But the next one that I'm going to be talking about is pretty good. This picture here, Martin Necas and David Pastrnak after winning gold at the World Championships. Martin Necas, definitely an interesting one here from the Carolina Hurricanes. A very young guy who, to me, in my opinion, I really see him leaving this team, getting traded, and moving on to hopefully a new part of his career, I guess we could say. And I'll pull this one up here. Stats for Martin Necas: 24 goals, 29 assists in 77 games. Very, very talented player. I'm a big fan of him. One big point of concern is his face-off percentage, but I think that what we can see with Necas on the face-offs could certainly be helped out by the Bruins, organization and staff and everything. We have some very good centermen in the career on the Bruins, like a lot of great centermen here. And I do think that they could certainly help out Martin Necas as well as everything about him. But he's just a very talented player, big guy. I would like to see him a lot in the Bruins. I really like him on Carolina. And I'm kind of happy that his tenure's hopefully over. You know, I see a lot of potential in him, I guess you could say, on the Bruins roster, and he would be certainly a great addition to the Bruins. So what do you think about Martin Necas? I know Larry, yeah, Necas definitely would be a perfect fit, absolutely. And Ullmark, that's as well the other screenshot that I have here about him. This is from what's it, Bleacher Report. Jeez. Friedman said it's unclear if Martin Necas was involved in the discussions. Ullmark is entering the last year of his contract and has been the subject of trade rumors. And this was discussing the trade at the deadline for Ullmark. It was Carolina and LA both had some trades put into being an offer for Ullmark. Didn't waive his no move clause or no trade clause. I can't remember which one it is. But pretty good return for what I'm seeing here. If this trade actually did play out, I would not have been mad at it, but I do understand why they didn't want to do it at the deadline, whether or not it was based on Ullmark's no move clause or not. K-Bar, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Draisaitl at the end at the little bit later in this live stream too. It's a bit of a crazy one, but I like some things. I don't think that would be enough, but I'll be going about that later because I got some things that I want to put out here about Leon Draisaitl. But just finishing off on Necas here. I think that he is a player that could grow a lot, especially on this team now, getting what would likely be first line minutes for the centerman. The face-off percentage can easily be worked on. If we get Bergeron back, that would be awesome. Not to play, but on a staff, just to, you know, whatever point. I doubt he would, you know, come back, but it would be pretty cool if he did. Trade Ullmark, Lindholm, Foster's and a second for Draisaitl if the Oilers lose the series. Now, Kenneth, that's one thing that is going to be a big part of it. It's if the Oilers lose the series, because we know that the Oilers are really in a crucial spot in the playoffs where they're going to have McDavid, Draisaitl, and a few other players that are going to be in the mindset that they probably can't do any more in these playoffs than they've already done with the current team. They can't get much better. You know, a goalie would completely revamp that team, but it would be a lot harder to get a goalie that would be very, very good. And we think that the Oilers are going to be on Ullmark. I think that's no question. But I don't know how much they're going to have to give up, how much they're going to be willing to give up to get a goalie like him for a playoff run. And that team would be amazing if they had a solid goalie, but Stuart Skinner's very hit or miss. The thing about Necas, though, MLS, is that I think that he has a lot of growth left to do. He really wasn't given the full opportunity, I'll say, on the Hurricanes. He definitely did have a great opportunity, and he's going to be, or he was a great player already there. I think there's a lot of growing that he has to do here. Being only 25, you see the stats he's already putting up. A bit of a power forward as well, which would be a great addition. But I think that he would be a very good addition to grow, I guess we can say. As well as just also not wearing 88. I can't remember who said that. I just seen it there, but what screen? This one here. Nope. This one. Wearing number 98. Connor Bedard. The next Connor Bedard is Martin Necas. They're Wayne. Yeah, sorry. But I'm telling you, I think that the Czechia connection would be very good for those two as well. That way you could, you know, they play together in the offseason, whatnot. So do Draisaitl, but not going to go too far into that. And then, exactly, our Duke, you can move Zacha back to the wing. That's another spot where you can free up a centerman, improve Zacha on that wing, and just make it a lot easier for the Bruins to be able to kind of make some new stuff. I'm going to pull up the lines here. I do have them. Hold on. I will pull those up. I have the defense ones. I don't have the... Oops. There we go. My bad. Marchessault will command close to 9 or 10 million in the open market for 40 gold. That's one thing that I'm a bit concerned about for Jonathan Marchessault, is he's still very good, even though he's 33. I probably am frozen. It's on my end. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, that's one thing that I really have the worries about for him, is that the price is going to be a bit too high. I think the Bruins can compete, but I don't want them to waste all their money on a guy like him. So if I'm going to pull these up here, just kind of leave them here for a minute, just to get the idea of what we could move around here on the side, and I'll move over. Yeah, no, that's true, MLS. There's still no actual number one center. That's why I think a guy like Stamkos and a few other names, like I think Lindholm could be a fringe first center. But there's a few guys like that that are still need to be a known NHL first line center. Say like a Draisaitl, for example. So you are right about that. That would still kind of be another just addition, but nothing what you want to see to build this team from a perfect top six. Best way to put it, in my opinion. How's the weather up north in Canada, Christine? It's fine. It's actually pretty nice out the past few days, so I'm hoping it keeps up. Still not super hot, but it's getting warmer. That's all I can ask for. Chandler Stevenson, Chandler Stevenson as well, Wayne. That's another one I don't have in here. I probably will have a video about it, but I just don't have it in here yet, and I don't have a video ready for it. But I do like Chandler Stevenson as well for what we're going to see. But you see what the lines here. Jake DeBrusk, likely not going to be back this offseason, but I'm not going to say no, because there's still negotiations. Still could easily choose to come back, still easily have the opportunity with his agent and whatnot, but it just really matters on the price tag, I think, for the Bruins side of things, and, well, for Jake DeBrusk, but the Bruins side is more important for us so we can see more money go towards building a better team. Morgan Geekie, Charlie Coyle, Pavel Zacha. The three number one centers, I guess we could say, but all realistically either a second or third center, with none of them actually being a number one. Pastrnak, he's not moving anywhere. Marchand, first and second line can do both the same. Trent Frederic, been a big surprise to me this whole season. A lot more offense coming out of him, especially in the playoffs, which really surprised me, but I'm happy to say that he's there, and there's going to be a few things on the bottom that is going to be changed around. Pat Maroon's a maybe. Johnny Beecher, I'm looking for a bigger role as well. And we also have to think about Matt Poitras as well. He's going to be on this team next season, as long as he's healthy to start off it, and hopefully they're going to give him a good role. I think he has a lot of growing to do. In the World Juniors there a couple years ago for Canada, he wasn't great when he was playing in the NHL, but his game was much more suited to the NHL rather than a World Junior style of hockey. So that's another one we have to take into consideration, maybe putting him on the third line if we move Zacha to the wing and Geekie, and there's a whole lot of moves, like slight moves that are going to be made, but James Van Riemsdyk, likely not. That would free up a spot for Pavel Zacha and a whole bunch of stuff like that. But it's going to be very, very busy, like I said, for the Bruins here in this offseason. DeBrusk is a waste of time and money. Yeah, I don't want to say yes, but you're right. He is. Like, he's very hit or miss, like I said earlier, in the regular season. Now, in the playoffs, he's a whole different player. He's very, very good. He was one of the only guys that, in some of the losses that we had seen, was giving it 110% in every shift. But if he could do that in the regular season, he'd be worth all the money. But we just haven't been able to see it yet to be willing to give him that mass amount of money that he's asking for. I'm going to move on, though, next to the next player, and that would be Elias Lindholm. It's test free agency. That was a question. Canucks face uphill battle to re-sign for, but the Boston Bruins have emerged the front runners in the Lindholm sweepstakes. Their need for a top six center aligns perfectly with Lindholm's skill set, making them an ideal landing spot. However, the Bruins will face stiff competition from other teams, as Lindholm's two-way ability and offensive prowess make him a highly coveted asset. This is going to be another interesting one. I'm excited to see what's going to go on with Elias Lindholm, because he was linked to the Bruins first of all in the whole mishmash of whatever was going on in free agent or in the trade deadline. Didn't end up going there. Went to the Canucks, but there was some rumors that he may have been flipped again before the deadline from the Canucks. I think they made the right choice in not doing that, but really makes some questions of if he wants to stay with the Canucks. And I think that he would be a fantastic player to be able to bring into this lineup from his two-way ability, his offense, everything that he offers. I think is very good. 15 goals, 29 assists, 444 points. Some average numbers you're going to see for a guy who has his ability on offense and defense. Nearly 30 is another thing of to take into mind, take into consideration, I guess. Not the youngest player, which is part of the Bruins' needs, but not exactly. It's a good one. I really like to see Elias Lindholm. Would love to have him beside Pasta. I agree with that, MLS. If they get Ottawa's first for Ullmark, then I would do that and get the best center we can get in the draft and sign Stammer short-term. Brave, give me a moment as well. I have the next player that I'll be talking about is involving the Ottawa Senators. So I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one. You're going to want to stick around and have a look at that. But I like Zacha, but he was invisible in the playoffs. I agree. He was pretty tough in the playoffs. Wasn't the best that we'd seen him, but that's all we can do at this point. He was playing a higher role than what he should have been playing, and he filled it well, but it just wasn't to the standard we'd like to see from a number one center. Lindholm was better defensively, but Necas might be a better overall fit. I agree, Larry. I think it's going to be either those two that we're going to see, if it's not Stamkos or if it's not like another top player via trade. You got it, Larry. Jacob Chychrun. That's one that I was actually going to do a video on after this. So if you're after the stream, if you're looking for a video, I think that might be up a little bit after. And we'll be discussing that a bit, because that's a pretty interesting one as well, regarding the whole Linus Ullmark situation and whatnot. But if we got Ottawa's first, who would you want us to get? Someone like Birthday Patton, or exactly who? It would be tough to gauge because this draft is very good. And I have a lot of favorites near the top, but I don't know if that would be exactly... pardon me. All my hotkeys are on my keyboard. I do apologize. I'm going to hit the mock draft real quick, and I will hop over to this one here, and I will zoom in a bit. Get this out of the way. Where Ottawa's pick? I'm assuming it would be the 25th, not the 7th. That would be my guess. And, would likely be what we're thinking. There's a few players here that I don't mind. Now, after about 20, like Aaron Kiviario is very good. Defenseman, obviously, but there's a few players here that I think can go either way. Dean Letourneau, I'm a very big fan of him. He is gigantic. He's a monster, 6'7", 209, and a centerman. That would be one that I can see the Bruins looking for. However, I don't know if it would be the first round pick involved in Ullmark. It almost had to be, in my opinion, but I don't know. Stammer probably will work something out with Tampa, or if he goes to Vegas. That's the issue. I think Stamkos has a lot more options as well. However, we really don't know what's going to happen. Tijagindla, I do like him a lot as well. However, I don't know if we'll be able to move up to around 9. I very highly doubt that's going to be the 7th overall pick going back to Boston if it was a first in the Ullmark trade. That would be amazing if it was. St. Perique is very good as well, but for the forward aspect of what we need to see from the Bruins, it's definitely an offensive player, regardless. Constantinius is another good one. I think I would be willing to make a gamble on, but if it were, let's just say, around the 25 mark of where the Oilers are right now with this second pick, I'm really liking Dean Letourneau. Really, really good. And I think that he could be a very big fit into this Bruins team. He'd be like that classic big bad Bruin that we know, that we want to see back, because we haven't seen one in a while. I think that's a pretty big thing that will be... I do apologize for switching all these players as well. It's when I'm clicking buttons on my keyboard, it goes into a kind of a frenzy, but I will have to change that for the next stream and check that out. But I'm going to head on to Elite Prospects and look at Dean Letourneau's stats and pull them up for you. I think they're worth looking at right here. Zoom in once again. Oh, where am I gone to? Here we go. Oh my goodness, I do apologize. Okay, right here. Nope. Right here. Okay. 127 points in 57 games, or 56 games, right, with St. Andrews College. He's putting up some insane numbers for a guy who's 6'7". Someone who's 6'7" should not be putting up these numbers. He should be putting up double these penalty minutes. So, I'm digging it. I'm really, really liking Dean Letourneau. Obviously, a Boston College commit as well, so kind of got that local impact, I guess we can say. I think that'll be a good way to describe it, is having the Bruins around the area, having the Boston Bruins vibe in the city. I think it'd be an awesome thing to have him on this team. If it was a late pick, I would move up to around 15. And that's one thing as well that we have to look at too. The Bruins don't have a first round pick this year. So if they were to move up, I'm sure they would want to move up to a pretty important pick, I guess we could say. They would certainly want to move up to somewhere where they can get a player that they know will turn out to be a very good one. And I think that if it's not Letourneau at the end for the offensive side of things, it could be around the guys we're talking about. Kijiginla, all of these guys. I'm very excited to see if that does happen, and I will pull that up now so we can talk about that here real quick. And this one comes from Everyday Sense, but there's a lot more on it that, like I said, will be in a video later. This post was built off Bruce Garrioch, I think that's how her name is pronounced, recent claims, stating that an NHL executive believed Ottawa would need to offer Chychrun plus a first, plus another pick to get Ullmark. The Bruins have been linked to Chychrun in the past, so this would be interesting. You know, if this does end up being, just say this year's first, that 25th, plus Chychrun, plus another pick for Ullmark, I don't say no to that. You know, Ullmark, 1 year left, $5 million. He's not going to be in the rebuilding part of this goaltending situation, I don't think. You know, and that's just my opinion. Maybe we can keep him for the season, trade him at the deadline, but I think the best thing to do will be trade him before the draft. So I do like that whole situation as it plays out. But once again, a lot of stuff that's going to have to go through. How do the Sens handle their current goalie situation, though? Do they buy out Korpisalo? I had seen one where there is a trade. I can't remember what it was off. But it would... I can't remember. I can't remember who it was, but they were changing or flipping someone to be a backup for the Bruins, I think. I can't remember what it was. I'll get back to you if I do remember, but right now I have no idea what it was. But yeah, you know, Chychrun is an interesting one as well because he could fit on this team, but it's very busy on the defense too. So let Lowry become what we wanted Chychrun to be 2 years ago. I agree with that, Zach. I'm a huge fan of Mason Lowry. I think that he will be a very big part of this team if it does come down to it in the future. But still, a lot of work is going to have to be done for this to make him the player we want him to be and whatnot. And I don't want to rush him is the best way to put it, I guess we can say, because he's definitely a player that has a lot of potential. We've seen what he could do these playoffs. However, still a lot of room for improvement, but that's a good thing. That's a really, really good thing. We got to. I'll pull the Chychrun stats here as well. Minus 30 on the season. Now, he's on Ottawa, playing 22 minutes time on ice a game. Granted, I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but 26 years old, just turned 26 at that. 14 goals, pretty good for a defenseman. 27 assists and for 41 points, and I like Chychrun. I'll say that, but does he have a spot on this team? I don't know right now. I think that I like the internals of the Bruins right now, what we have and everything like that, and I think that would play out better. Nobody will touch Korpisalo unless it's a big sweetener. That is true. You know, I think that he would probably be a player that the Senators would trade a pick with him to get rid of him to maybe a team like, I don't know, New Jersey if they can't get a goalie. Now, they have a lot of goalies and whatnot, but someone who's looking for a goalie that can play a third of the season, that would be likely the scenario, I think, for Korpisalo. And the Bruins aren't that team right now. So maybe, you know, the Senators give us another first round pick, we'll take him, but that's not going to happen. If they could swing for Pinto, that would be ideal. Pinto is an interesting one as well. You know, the Senators are a very good young team that I think has a lot of potential on their roster right now, and a lot of players that I think I would be interested in trading for. Now, I'll pull up their cap friendly here, and I'll swap my screens over again so you can see. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Shane Pinto, the RFA, trade for his rights, 23 years old. Very, very ideal situation, I guess we could say. They have Tim Stutzel, Claude Giroux, who's going to be still in the center, Ridley Gregg, who I'm a huge fan of, and Pinto. They have a very good core of centermen that could easily be traded, as well as Josh Norris on the IR. So they do have a lot of players that can and likely will be traded at some point, because they're going to have a lot of money to spend on those players when they do end up getting new contracts, especially Pinto this season, Moneybags Pinto. I think that he's going to be wanting a lot of money, but either way, I'm pretty excited to see what does come out of this trade rumor and report and whatnot with the Senators, because I'm a big fan of what we're seeing there in that in that situation. I would keep Ullmark and get rid of the slackers. Ullmark is having 3 defensemen. It's like, yeah, that is true, Christine, too. You know, Ullmark is gonna the problem with that with Ullmark is keeping Ullmark is the price that we're gonna be paying for 2 goalies. And it's Swayman's net now. I think that was determined in these playoffs that it's gonna be his net going forward. And I understand that they split games pretty much all of last season, but Swayman, I don't think you could split a goalie who you're paying $7.5 to $8 million. That's really a tough situation to be in. That's like putting Carey Price when he was in his prime, still making that $10 million, playing him for half the season. Like, it's a tough situation. I know there's 2 very good goalies there. But I think the best thing to do where you get the most return is to trade Ullmark. Would I do Ullmark in a first for Mercer or Holtz to play right wing with Poitras and Frederic on the third line? Oh, Ullmark for a first and Mercer or Holtz. I would do that. You know, I'm a big fan of Dawson Mercer, local boy for me, and Alexander Holtz, very, very good player. I think that he deserves to be getting some very good minutes, and Dawson Mercer showed that he can be a very good player at the NHL level. I would like to see, yeah, I would do that. You know, I think that's a fair one to say. Ottawa won't give up Pinto even though he hasn't signed. That's a tough one to get. You know, they're gonna want Pinto. So I think the only way they trade him is if they have a lot of trouble trying to sign him. And I think that's really gonna be the only way that he'll have a chance to become a Bruin. Or unless we sweeten the trade on our end. But I don't know if Don Sweeney's gonna be really willing to do that unless he's certainly winning a trade. Won't get more than a first rounder for Ullmark or a second line. Yeah, I think that the trade that we had seen, I don't have it here. Was it this one? Yeah, Kirk on a first and another pick, maybe like a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I think that's what we'll see if it is a trade. If there is a trade, I should say, between these 2 teams. This is what I'm going to say it is. Just to make it feel right. Because I think that if it's any more from either side, I think that the trade will sway one way, but I don't hate this as it is right now. Yeah, Brandon Bussey is going to have to stay on this team. I'm a huge fan of him, and that's what I'm saying, too. It's what I'm thinking is, trade Ullmark, you either get a backup goalie in return for a season or 2, keep Bussey in the AHL to start one more season, or if you think he's ready, bring him up to back up the NHL behind Swayman, get a few games here or there, but give the net to Swayman so he can get used to playing a lot. Would we flip Chychrun? That's one thing that I think that the Bruins would have to decide before the trade. I think he would fit on this roster. I think he would be an excellent player to add, but I think that it's just too busy on the left-hand side. Like, Lowry, Lindholm, and Parker Wotherspoon. As of right now, I don't hate it, but Chychrun would easily add to this team, make it a bit better. But flipping him, I think, is the better thing to do because they can get more in return, if you get what I'm saying. We need to find somebody. Oh, sorry, I just lost my chat. Somebody that's not defensive player, but still plays good defensively, because if he trades Ullmark for a player that won't benefit the team. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were to get a guy like Elias Lindholm, that would be easier. You can trade Ullmark in some certain way. He would be a great player to add defense and offense and does fantastic in that way. But it would be a crucial change if they went and got worse defensively, but also got rid of Ullmark. I think it's a good way to put it. We'll lose Bussey to waivers if we don't put him on the team. Is he waiver eligible? I don't know. I can check that for you. I didn't think he was, but now that you're saying that, he could be. I think Swayman and Bussy is just a very positive future for the Bruins. So I think that I wouldn't mind that. And that gets Brandon Bussy more NHL experience rather than having to stay in the AHL for another season. And he is? Okay. So yeah, that would be the best thing to do then. And he then getting rid of Ullmark, I think is a must. You know, I hate to say it. But I do think it's the best thing to do is get rid of him. And well, we also have to speak about LA because that's another spot he was rumored to go to in the the trade deadline. Nothing came out of it, but there's a lot of potential as well on the Kings that they're kind of not using. You have Alex Turcotte, Arthur Calle, you have a lot of very talented offensive players like that as well. So there's a lot of things that will have to be considered in that way. But just say you do trade him for Chychrun, then you have to think about flipping him or think about fitting him in this roster somewhere. It really is a lot of thinking to do for an Ullmark trade, even though it's an indirect result of trading him. So, I don't know right now. To be honest with you, I really, really don't know right now what we're going to see. Definitely the first line center's priority. Cannot have Geekie as number one center to begin the season. That's right, Keith. There needs to be a number one center. Either a number one, or I would be okay with a 1A, 1B. So just say a Necas, a Lindholm, a Stamkos. And then even if you do put Charlie Coyle on line one, a game here and there, I'm okay with that. But as someone who can play the first line and develop well majority of the time, I think that would be okay. Because so he is waiver eligible. Okay, yeah, then he has to be on this roster because it's going to be tough to see him clear. He won't clear. That's right, Cody. He won't clear. So, Ullmark got to go. We've seen that the Canadians were like that this year, too. They had 3 goalies on the roster. They had to get rid of one. And there we go. We've seen how it played out this year. Yeah, Ullmark is the biggest chip. I think he's the biggest possibility of getting a number one center if it's via trade. And Lysell as well. Fabian Lysell is one that could certainly be traded. And Georgi Merkulov, too. I'll pull up one of... What am I thinking of? Yeah, okay, I don't have a screenshot for this, but this would be... Now, bear with me. Bear with me here. This one obviously would be something that could be very, very big for the Boston Bruins. If we were to see something happen this offseason, next offseason, trade deadline this year, this is really depending on the Edmonton Oilers. So if you want to see Leon Draisaitl on the Boston Bruins, you better hope that the Oilers lose these playoffs. That's one thing that I think is going to be a very big part of this future move, if anything were to happen. Do you have a stat for a faceoff? Since I recall the game where couldn't win a faceoff save our lives. I don't have any, but I could search them up if I had like a specific game or a specific player and whatnot. But I don't have any on my whole system here. Yeah, Cody, that would be a ridiculous trade if it were to happen. If anything were to happen with Leon Draisaitl, the Bruins have to give up a lot, or he leaves in free agency. But I don't think the Oilers let him walk. That's the thing. I think that he would be traded if they were to be traded. So just say they lose here in this round against the Dallas Stars. He's not happy with the team. They couldn't get no success. They couldn't once again do it. They go into next season. They stink. They come towards the trade deadline. They're not in the playoff spot and they won't make the playoffs. He's traded. No doubt. Keith Shepard. Okay, I'll have a look at that on TSN yeah, Keith, I'll look at TSN for anyone that you want. If you want a specific player, you can put it in the chat and I'll have a look for it after that. The return would be non-feasible for the Bruins. It would be a very tough situation for them to be able to make anything like that happen. And that's one thing, Kenneth, as well, that Draisaitl said he would be interested in playing with the Bruins. And in the video I spoke about Draisaitl, He trains with Pastrnak in the offseason. So those two became friends. They have a friendship. Hopefully that would be something he'd be enticed with. Ullmark, Carlo, 2025 first, and Lysell. I would absolutely do that. The only thing is, I don't think the Oilers would. That's the one issue that I think we're going to see with that trade, is that it's probably going to be multiple first, even if it is Ullmark, Carlo. It's probably going to be like that and 3 first. That would be tough. Yeah, it would be Cody. More than that. That's the thing. I don't think that it would be feasible for a trade. Now, you have to put your name out there. If this does arise, if this scenario does happen to be possible. But you have to have your limits of what you're going to trade for a guy like him. But they have to be high. You know, you're not going to pay nothing for a guy like Leon Draisaitl, but you also can't give up your entire past, present, and future. You know, that could easily ruin a franchise, even though you're getting infinitely better. Just because you could be hopeless for the years after. And even if you do, just say, lose that season, that it could just lead to a whole lot of problems, which I don't think the Bruins are willing to do that. Yeah, sign as a free agent would be the best scenario for that. I'll pull up the graphic once again. He's an insane player. You know, he's going to be a lot of money. Going to be a lot to trade for him, but I think that you have to put it out there if in some way. I think that the difference that would make is if they're not playing great in the playoffs, that'll kind of entice some teams to get rid of them. But you never know. It could be a coaching standpoint. It could be playing the penalty killer power play. There's a lot of things that contribute to the success of a player, and I think that the Bruins, the way they're built right now from the top down, they're very good at turning players into making them successful and finding their role. So I think that, you know, you wouldn't go out and get someone who's playing horribly in the regular season and and the postseason. I just expect them to play good. No, but like if you see someone who's playing good in the regular season, had a bit of a struggle in the postseason the past few years or whatnot, I think that they could certainly find a way to make that player come back to normal and play like they had in the regular season in the playoffs. I also seen that MLS. Ullmark reportedly had all Canadian teams on his no-trade list, but now it does drop to one team. It drops from 16 to 15 teams June 1st. I believe it's June 1st. So that would be another bonus, I guess we can say, is that maybe that one Canadian team gets put on that, but it's a situation where as well, you know, he has a lot of teams that he can say no to, and that could be the biggest issue. So it's a lot of things that we're gonna have to see and work with, and it's very early yet, like I said, and we're still gonna have many weeks until a move does occur. And if it does, I'd say it'll be at the draft, because I think that first round pick that we were talking about with Ottawa would be nice to see, but still, we have no idea what it would be. Mark, you're right. The Canadian media, especially Montreal, Toronto, even some of the West Coast teams, when you lose, you get ripped apart by the media. They blame it on you. They put everything on you, and it just does suck to see, especially from a fan standpoint as well. I really don't care who the player is. If the media's ripping them, it does suck to see. And even if I don't want to say they deserve it, but like, even if something that occurs that makes it more likely to be ripped apart, they just tear you down. So, I mean, it makes sense. That's what I was thinking, Cody, too. I didn't see anything in an article, but when he said no to LA, like, that made sense to me, because Sweden to LA a lot further. So I think either, well, I mean, obviously a lot further, but it's probably like halfway around the world if it isn't. But I think it'll be an East Coast, Central U.S. team, if at all. You know, still, I'm saying like he's going to be traded, but we still never know. That could also be the case too, though, Brave. If he didn't want to move in season because the success of the Bruins that we're going to have, there was a big possibility that they were going to win. So that could have been a possibility. Ottawa would be fine, yeah. Ottawa's not very far from Boston. So like anywhere, I'll say like anywhere from Minnesota west is probably the area that he wouldn't want to go. But either way, it's gonna be one that it's gonna have a lot of pieces that are gonna have you move. Just like we said, if it's gonna be the Ottawa trade with Chychrun, it's gonna be a lot of things are gonna have to work. You're probably gonna flip Chychrun and a whole bunch of stuff like that. But I do like the pick the first round pick. If this trade, this one here does come to fruition. Yeah, Mark, it's brutal. Like I don't even know the best way to describe it. They just don't care. You know, it almost seems like they just don't care about the players. Stars goes to Toronto. Who does Nashville have starting goal? Wayne, they'll have I can't think of his name right now. He played in the World Juniors for like 7 years. Yaroslav Askarov. Yeah, there you go. Jeez. 7-time World Junior goalie Yaroslav Askarov. Zadorov or someone similar is needed in the blue line. Zadorov would be huge. Zadorov would be gigantic. He would be a great addition to the blue line. I like that one edited. I like that one a lot. The tax on the contracts in Canada is a very big thing too. You know, Florida, Dallas, I think Seattle. I don't know. Does Seattle have state tax? I have no idea, but I know Florida and Texas don't. So those are very ideal spots for many players. Bruins need a seasoned faceoff guy. Absolutely, that's one thing that we've discussed a little bit here. Not too much, but would be a very big piece. How about Crosby? Would love him. Don't think it happens though. I think he's going to stay forever in Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to make that happen. I feel like the Penguins, even though they tried to this year, I think they're still going to be buyers. I think they want that one more cup with that core they have of Letang, Malkin, Crosby, and they need a goalie too. So maybe something like that happens. I wouldn't mind it. By selling Crosby, the trade is 1-for-1. If that happens, I'll eat my hat. I will fully eat my hat. Let me pop over to the... What was I looking for? I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was looking for. I was looking for something regarding a trade, but I can't remember. Crosby free agent. That yes, but I still think that the Penguins lock him up before. Yes, Stamkos, Kevin. That's one that we had spoken a little bit about. Not too much because I forgot to put him on my list of players. I guess we got a little discussion about him now. That's one that I think is going to be a big player that the Bruins are going to go after. He's not going to be making too much money, but he's going to be deserving of it. You know, he's going to be deserving of whatever he gets. I don't think he's going to sign too long anywhere, but 4, 5, 6 million, I think, is what it would be for a Stamkos. But I would pay that for a Steven Stamkos player. That's pretty much the best way to put it. Yeah, and you're right, MLS too. If Stamkos goes to free agency, it's going to be a bidding war because there's going to be a lot of teams looking for him. We know the Leafs, before he signed this most recent contract, he unfollowed everybody on Twitter and went to follow them, and ultimately did nothing. But I'm sure they would want him. They would have to make some moves, likely if they're going to get rid of Martin or whatnot. But how about Barrett Hayton from Utah? I don't mind Barrett Hayton. I think he has a lot of development to go for him. He's still not a bad player, but I don't think that right now he's the type of player the Bruins are looking for. I think they want someone who's more developed and ready to play. And yeah, and he has also hurt a lot, Cody. Think we'll go for Marco Rossi. Minnesota's looking to move him. That's an interesting one as well. I seen Montreal was in on him a lot. Marco Rossi. I don't know if the Wild trade Rossi. That's the one thing. I know there's a lot of reports saying that he's looking to get traded and whatnot. He's looking to become, available, or the Wild looking to become available, but he played really good this season. I think that he'll be a perfect fit for the Wild, but if they do trade him, I think they're going to want a decent bit for him because he has a lot of potential. I remember he had a few issues, like breathing issues, before his NHL debut, and that set him back a little while. But this season, we've seen what he could be. Very, very good, especially with the players that they have, the younger team in the Wild. It's good. I think it's a 50-50 for me whether he does be or he will be moved or not. But I like it. If he does, I like it. Who are the ideal line mates with Stamkos? Yeah, he is going to re-sign with Tampa. That's my full guess, but let's just say he doesn't. And then we take a look here at the lines. He's going to be line 1 or 2. I think that's pretty safe to say. It's also, he could play wing and center. Would he play center? Would he play wing? I think it really depends, but the Bruins would want him to play center. I think that's a fair assessment. And I don't know if I'd put him with Pastrnak. Who am I kidding? I think I would, but I don't know. It's going to be a lot of juggling because this roster that I just had up there is not at all set. That's going to be one probably changed around a lot. So, interesting, but I need to see it to believe it. I guess the best way to put it. Edited, yeah. Picks could be important to flip, but you also have the possibility of what we spoke about earlier, that first round pick from Ottawa. If it does become, you can get some sneaky good players in around that 25th, or you can flip it. So there are a few things there that you can do with that, but you never know. You never know. Yeah, Kevin, we spoke about it a little while ago. I think it's possible. Very, very unlikely. I won't say it's impossible. I guess that's the best way to put it. Kind of put us into a hopeful area, but very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. Now, I have been seeing too many reports saying it. It's just getting my hopes up. I know it's not going to happen, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see it to believe it. Do we have any more players? Anybody have anyone in Columbus? They need a goalie. I mean, I would love Adam Fantilli. I think he's an untouchable, though, but I think he has a lot of potential. I think the Bruins will keep Maroon. I think they will, because we have to take this into consideration as well. He came off... That's all right, Kevin. No worries. I'm just saying that's what we're... Because if you wanted to go back, you can rewind the stream too and have a look at what we said, but that's kind of just the small update we had about him. I didn't want to get our hopes up too much. But as for Maroon, he came off back surgery, played very few games, started in the playoffs. Giving him a full season, getting his feet back under him, I think it would be a great idea for the Bruins. There's no loss. As the reports were saying, you can give him a Lucic-style deal, $1 million, have the possibility to get up to 1.5 with incentives. That gives him the motivation to go out and put a bit of offense up, but still be the player he's supposed to be now in his career. So I don't hate it. You don't lose on a Patrick Maroon kind of deal that he's going to get. If he does, you can just try and trade him, put him on waivers, whatnot. It's not a horrible thing. Lindholm is a very big one as well. That, like we were saying, Cody, I think you were here for them. Is a 50-50 as well, I'm thinking. Probably one of the better options the Bruins have. Just depends on if he still wants to come to the Bruins and whatnot. Will Lucic ever return? Unfortunately, I don't think so, Kevin. I think his career is kind of hooked, if you will. The whole situation that happened, whether or not anything did happen or not, I'm not going to go into it because, it don't matter. But if we haven't heard anything about him at this point, his contract's up now. I think it's over. I think it really is over for him in the NHL. That's true. Maroon came with the injury, but I also guess it's the playoff scenario. He didn't want to rush him into any situation or very important thing. So I think he's kind of let him go out there, play his game, but his game wasn't fully back. That's the best way to. You overpay on Lindholm, he'll be solid. True. Lindholm, even if he doesn't perform on the offense, he's always going to perform on defense. So there's at least a positive in that situation for him. That's what the Bruins need. So I like it. Oh, Cody, 100%. It is their best replacement for a Bergeron, even though I don't think the only replacement that you can get for Bergeron is Barkov, but Barkov ain't going nowhere. Bergeron was still better, but Barkov is the closest thing to him. And then those two are here, and the rest of the pack is down here. But you're right. We'll be able to fit Necas in a wing and Lindholm in number one. If we get both, I would be very happy. I like both of those. Necas, I think, is probably my... Apart from, Stamkos, Lindholm, those two, I think Necas my third. If we can get both, I'd like it. They would certainly fit together, but I don't know if the Bruins go out and get both. It'll be one, if any. Lucic isn't a definite no, but I'll say it's like a 97%. He's gone, like forever. Yeah, he's not going to be re-signed either, so I'm sure no other team's going to go after him as well, but JVR and DeBrusk are both gone. JVR, yes. DeBrusk, maybe. I think if he's asking too much still, yeah, he's done. A center that can hit the bumper play. Yep, I agree. Yeah, no, you're right, Cody. You're right. He is the best situation currently that is available and would work for the Bruins. Like, with those stipulations, absolutely. True, Kevin. Yep. It happened. Sucks. But it was the right thing for the Bruins to do. You couldn't really do anything like that. They didn't want anything to happen. So, it was the best thing to do. Pasta, Necas, and Zacha. Pasta and Necas. I will pull up this image once again. Wrong one. There we go. I want to see this, but with Bruins jerseys on. This is what I want to see. I want to see that. And if I do see this, I'll be a happy camper. Yeah, Mark, you're right. Necas' face-off percentage is horrible. Like I'm saying earlier, I think that if he were to come to Boston, this coaching staff could certainly make him better at face-offs. Because that's one thing the Bruins are good at, are teaching people to take face-offs. They won't be good at face-offs every game, but the style of what they learned from Bergeron, Krejci, those style of players that they used to have, they can win a face-off, and that definitely went into the team. And that showed that this could be the best situation. Michael, you got it right there. A top six forward, a number one center, and a consistent goal-scoring winger. That is the perfect way to describe the Bruins' needs this offseason. That well, also, even the line that you said too, that works as well, but that's what I would like to see the Bruins progress into. Yeah, Necas on the dot, he stinks. Horrible. I'm going to put up a bunch of screenshots again. I do apologize. Let me fix that. There you go. I'm going to search up his face-off. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it's cooked. Let me see. Not there either. What? Whoops. ESPN, maybe? Nope. Oh my god. Hockey reference. This definitely gotta have it. Yeah, oh lord. Oh god. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Remove the ad. 34% of the face-offs this season. Career 41. 34 is tough. That is terrible. Sign Lindholm, Marchessault, trade Ullmark to New Jersey for Mercer, Holtz, and we're good to go. I don't hate that at all, Cody. I don't hate that at all. Yeah, like, that's going to be an issue. Oh my. 2019, 2020 was 27%. In 64. How many did he take? Oh, okay, not very many. He actually didn't take too many faceoffs this year either. Last year was a good tell. 188 and 229. Yeah, that's actually not... Oh, it's still horrible, but not as many faceoffs as I thought he would have taken. Lindholm's faceoffs. I will have a look at that. Give me 1 moment. Not Hampus Lindholm. I will see if we can get that put on this screenshot as well. The guy that does... I can see if he can put some face-off percentages on this graphic, actually. That'd be a good way to do it, too. Kevin, you're right. Face-off percentage did cost us this year. And if that happens similar to next year, will be the same thing. Who would be backup for Swayman, Bussy in the AHL, if the Bruins need... Yeah, I think it will be Bussy, just because of the whole waiver situation. You don't want to risk that. Elias Lindholm. I have it up here now, and let me find this season's. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is what you want to see in a face-off guy. 58.7% with 206 wins, 145 losses. That is ideal for what we're looking for in a centerman. And then for the careers, 53. You know, you can't complain about that. I was actually wrong. It's probably around 56. Yeah, Cody, you're probably right. It's probably about that because I only counted the Vancouver one, but even on Calgary, still 55. That's what you want to see. 50% face-off, a little bit higher than 50. That's perfect. Is Matt Duchene a number 2 center? You know, he's been on the older side, but I wouldn't say no. Because that Dallas team is built very well around him. And he has a lot of... No, well, I shouldn't say they have a lot of people around him, but like the whole roster is good. You could play that third line as a first line if you wanted to. So you could maybe move him from a first line to a second line to a third line to a fourth line if you wanted to, if you needed to. I look at a contract would have give Lindholm. I wouldn't give him a monster contract, but I would go 5, 6, maybe 7. I think 5 to 6 is safe to say because you also have to pay. Oh, how long? Yeah. Okay, sorry. 4 to 5 years at like 5, 6, 7 million. Yeah, sorry, I got that mixed up. But you know, he's not too old. He's not young, going on 30. I think he'll be 30 by the time the next season starts. So not a bad one. But if you get him to 45, the way he plays, the way his style works, he's not a guy that needs to be young and be quick and whatnot. He's very good the way he plays. He's strong on his feet and whatnot. Excuse me. So I think he would be a good fit for going with, you know what I'm trying to say. He's a good fit going on those 4 to 5 years, and he could be even 6. Yes, way into 6. And that the cost or the price that he will be making is good. You know, he'll be a very clean priced player, I guess we could say. That's so much money not signing with Calgary. Wow, 22 million. Yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Would not want that. Well, yeah, we also look 2021, 2022 in Calgary at 82 points. He was point per game. Played all games of the season and was very, very good. point-wise as well. He got 44 this year, so trade value has dropped, but it's still enough to be good. And Chandler Stevenson as well. Chandler Stevenson's going to have a lot of people looking for his services. I think the Bruins need to be... okay, I'll say this. I think the Bruins need to be in on just about everybody that we've spoken about here, whether it's the ones I had here, the ones you guys have said, because there's a lot of very good names out there, and they won't be able to get them all, and they won't be able to get few of them. But it's going to be very tough to get the perfect fits the Bruins need. So I think they have to kind of go over multiple players, multiple different contract possibilities to be able to make this work. I think that's the best way to put it. I would sign Stevenson. I would as well. Well, once again, it's really all about the price. You don't want to pay too much. The Bruins have a nice bit of money to be able to spend, but you don't want to overpay on anybody. Unless it's someone that you need to overpay on to be able to win a bidding war. Just say Stamkos, but you still can't overpay too much. How's it going, Mr. Jaggers? Good to see you as well. Stevenson is, he wouldn't be a first-line center, but he would be a great addition for the depth, what they want to do, and as well as the whole center situation where they may move a few to the wing and whatnot. So, I don't hate it, but there's going to be a lot of thinking that's going to have to go on in the boardroom or wherever these guys are talking. Is there anybody that got any other players that we haven't spoken about here? Whether it's the one like the ones I had here, the ones we said in the chat, so Chandler Stevenson, Steven Stamkos. Is there anybody that's kind of a bit of a dark horse you want the Bruins to sign? Because we got some more time. I'm going to end this one here. We've been live about an hour now, but we still got a little bit longer. And I feel like we're missing out on a few players. Let me hit the NHL free agency. Well, we have Elias Lindholm, obviously, who I pull up every time I go to type something into Google. Who on the Bruins do you think has the worst contract or didn't live up to their contract? Well, I don't want to say... Well, I'll say Jake DeBrusk. He's making a half-decent amount of money. He's very hit or miss, so I guess that's the way we can say it, but I still think that he is... he's worth what he's making right now, and I'd be willing to give him that exact same contract. But I don't know if he's going to be actually worth it. Now, with the cap going up, I'd be okay with it, but still a lot of things that are going to be worked on. Joe Pavelski, Tyler Toffoli, and Mikko Rantanen. I like all three. All three very different players. Pavelski is one that I think the Bruins could certainly use in front of the net. Very good tipping the puck in and, just net front activity. He's very good at that. Good on, the offense and whatnot. Very smart player, too. I do like that. I agree, guys. I agree. Zacha will do better on the wing. He's good on the faceoffs. You can definitely put him there, but I think that his style suits the wing more than what we see currently at the faceoff. Let me see. Available. Now, okay, well, this one is a bit of a tough one, but what are we thinking about Sam Reinhart? He's going to be a lot of money. And the Bruins could do it, but they would spend a lot of the money that they want to fill up a team with. That's one thing I've been a bit hesitant on, is filling up a team with more, using our money on one player, I guess we could say. That you want to kind of piece together the team, and if you do that, I think you'd have to trade Ullmark to get the other pieces you need, if you weren't already going to. But Sam Reinhart's one that you can't go wrong with. You can't go wrong with it. Who else we got? Tyler Johnson from the Blackhawks. That's another one that will be to be starting next year. I am inclined to say so. I can't see why he wouldn't. He played very well when he got called back up at the end of the season. And he needs the time to develop. That's really the thing about him that will make him a star. Who else are we looking at here? Alex Wenberg, 29, 4.5 right now on New York, but possibility. Oh, Jack Ross. I did not know Jack Roslovich was 27 years old. Still, Jack Roslovich, another one that I think would be an okay player to get. He re-signs in Florida. That's what I'm thinking, Wayne, too. This is what I've been saying the whole time. We're talking about Reinhart, is that he's going to stay with Florida. Would love to see him elsewhere because, I've seen enough of Florida, but that's all you can do. Brave, I think Poitras will do very good next year. I think that you're going to give him that opportunity. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to thrive in the position that he's going to be put in, wherever he goes. And he'll be a very good center as well. His game is styled perfect for the NHL. This is what I was saying earlier, too. In the World Juniors, he didn't play too well, but that's when he was in the NHL. But his game is perfect for the NHL, and I think he's going to be a very good player. That's true. That's true, Connor. You don't want to give him too much money just because you almost need to see it again to be able to do that. No to Wenberg? That's what I figured. Rostovich is a low-risk, high-reward depth center. Could be great. However, he's been pretty good for New York in the playoff run. Cost is only rising. That's true. Very, very true. I hope that'd be a sneaky one, though, I think. Quentin Byfield, restricted free agent. He'll go back to LA. Martin Necas, we've spoken about him. Jeff Carter, I think he retired, didn't he? I don't remember. Matt Duchene, as someone else was saying earlier. Chandler Stevenson. Alex Turcotte, one I've been very high on. Kings, but I don't know. Bruins Anthony Duclair. I would not hate Anthony Duclair. I think giving him a good team and good surroundings will just make him even better than he already is. And it'll be nice. It'll be really, really good. Get Dylan on defense to fill them out. That would, that'd be another solid addition to make this team even better. But the defense, like I was talking about, is pretty good situation right now. This is what we're kind of rocking with, without any changes at the moment. I don't hate it. A lot of development's going to go on that left side. Andrew P could have a full season with the Bruins. I'm excited for. But you never know. Maybe the Bruins go out and get one more solid defenseman that they can just kind of stick him in, slot him in there, and he'll be very good. But either way, I don't hate what we're seeing on defense right now. And Michael, I would love to see him do that, but very big risk if we just sell the team to get them all out. How's it going, Felix? We're kind of discussing some potential free agents that the Bruins may go after. We've had a list already. We've gone through Patrick Kane, Jonathan Marchessault, Tyler Bertuzzi, Martin Necas, Elias Lindholm, Jacob Chikrin in a trade with Ottawa to get to Ullmark, Draisaitl, Steven Stamkos. We've kind of just spoken about a lot of guys here. Just theorizing, like not really any rumors or reports or anything for the most part. But we've been just kind of going over some players that we think would be a very good fit for this team heading into next season. Is Buchnevich a UFA this year? I don't believe so. I could be wrong, but I don't think. Let me have a look. No, I don't think so. Unless he's making below 1.9, I don't think he is. Looking for some young centers here on 4track.com. Going through their list. I should sort by UFA. Probably be a lot easier. A player like Adrian Kempe. I like Adrian Kempe a lot. I think he would be, a very good player, but likely unavailable. But from the Kings. But a player like Adrian Kempe. There's a few, all kind of depends on. See you next time, K Bar. I think I got your name right. I'm still not positive, but I appreciate you being here. Have a good night. Thoughts on Morgan Geeky? Yeah, he played well this season, exceeded expectations. They trade him, I think it would be to kind of swap for a better player. But as of right now, I think he stays on this team. But as for a player like Adrian Kempe, I don't know. There's kind of like I'll pull up. Let me sort by UFA, and I'll pull this up here on Dream. Zoom in a tiny bit. There we go. Like these are some available players. I'll move my camera over to the other side as well, so I'm not blocking anything. There we go. And pop the chat back up. Yeah, Grizzlick just kind of you described it very well. Kind of fell off a cliff. Wasn't ideal for the Bruins this year. I think he was there a lot because of his dad, but appreciate you, Brave. Appreciate you being here. Hope to see you in the next one. Trying to do these weekly, so make sure to tune in, see some more stuff like this. Ullmark and Geeky from Mercer or Holt and a pick. Now that could be interesting, Cody. That could be interesting. The way the Bruins would want to work it out, especially now that with Sheldon Keefe there, they may try and make a splash early to think about it. But right here, we got a few. These are the UFAs. Just this is sorted by previous AAV. But we got guys like I said, Sam Reinhart, Steven Stamkos, Jake Gensel. Jake Gensel likely going to be re-signed with Carolina, unfortunately. Plus, he's going to be making a lot of money. I think a Holt trade is reasonable. If the Devils are willing to do it, I can see a world where it happens. Ullmark is staying close to the East Coast, but just seems like he wants to. A lot of stuff like that. It suits a lot of his needs, depending on if he's on the no trade list for Ullmark. You see a lot of guys that like Wenberg, Mike Hoffman, a surprising good year. Would not sign him, however, but Tyler Toffoli, one we mentioned as well. Anthony Beauvillier, he could definitely use a new spot, a new home. I think that he could be a pretty good player that could develop. 27, or just about to be 27. Yeah, again, like Jake DeBrusk here, I think there's a lot of possibilities that we'd see happen to work out in the Bruins' favor, I guess we could say. Ugh. Yeah, a lot of stuff's gonna happen. Still only early in the off season. Kind of wanted to just discuss some today. As we know, there's not going to be any guarantees yet. But I'm sure over the next coming weeks, we'll hear a lot of stuff. I'd say a lot more trade rumors about Ullmark, trade reports. Probably going to find out what's going to happen with Jake DeBrusk. Probably hear more on Necas, Lindholm, Bertuzzi, some of those guys. Bertuzzi could get re-signed by the Leafs. That's been a rumor as well. A lot of stuff. Yeah, the draft will be the beginning of it. I think that's... If Ullmark were to be traded, that's where it'll be, I think. Do you think Marchand will be back at Toronto this year? Fans are screaming for his head after the Bruins series. I really don't know. There was a picture today that revealed Craig Berube and Mitch Marner were out for dinner talking. Just the two of them. So I don't know what that whole situation is. I'm sure we'll hear some more now in the few days when Craig Berube talks or Mitch Marner talks or whatever happens on that side of things. But, we never know. We never know. Is there any snow up here in Newfoundland? Thankfully, no. Thankfully, there is not anymore. Now, it wasn't very long ago we got it melted, but still. Pretty late for a bit of snow. Actually, it did snow the other day, but nothing stuck, so it's good enough. Ullmark's no trade list. I'd like to see it too. I'd say there's probably some sneaky teams on there that would make sense to go to, but we wouldn't know about. I don't want an Ullmark trade, honestly. Felix, do you think that an Ullmark trade would... What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, do you think that the Bruins would be better off keeping both the goalies for this season, potentially trading at the deadline, and letting Ullmark walk? Or do you think they would be better off trading him now, getting more additions for the season, giving Swayman the net and Bussy a backup opportunity? I'm curious. I'm still on both sides as well. I don't want to trade because I love the tandem, but they have to. They almost have to do it, which kind of sucks. Yeah, that's one thing about the NHL. It's a business. It makes sense, but you get to see some things that isn't ideal. But Bussy isn't signed yet either. He's an RFA, so I'm assuming they're going to wait until the trade maybe to get him, and then they could probably sign him on a one-way deal in the NHL. Yeah, no, Felix, I'm in the exact same boat. The whole friendship, tandem, brotherhood of Swayman and him was awesome, but it sucks. It really does suck. That Michael, you're right. It's there's too many reasons to trade him. It makes too much sense, but I want to see him on this team. I love Linus Ullmark. Loved him since he was on Buffalo. Just seems like a great person, and the whole that as well the documentary I've spoken about in a previous stream. I'm not sure if it was anywhere else, but it was on Sportsnet here in Canada. It was very heartwarming. Yeah, Mr. Shaggers. I'm the most eastern point in Canada, so I do not have a Boston accent. The no move clause or no trade clause is 16 teams, and June 1st it goes down to 15. Paris 50% retained for a 6th-round pick. Mark, I honestly don't know if I would do that, to be honest with you. I hate John Tavares so much. I can't stand it. He's a great player, but he just gets on my nerves. Yeah, MLS, that's likely what's going to happen. I think, MLS, I'll pull up the image probably just one more time before we call this one quits here. The proposed, or the rumored, reported, whatever you want to call it, Ottawa trade. Chikrin, a first, and another pick for Ullmark. I'll pull this up just for the people who weren't here earlier. It potentially doesn't fit because no move clause supposed to have no Canadian teams, but we never know. If I could choose, I would make a full Swedish team. I'm incredibly biased. I mean, you got some incredible players to add to the roster, so it makes complete sense, but it worked. Yeah, Tavares wouldn't go anywhere anyways. That's why he went to Toronto. Went there to play the end of his career, retire likely, and yeah, Stars. That whole thing. I've like seen that, but I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. To be honest with you, I see both sides of the coin, but Michael, they also have the 25th overall as well, so that's likely the pick that would be traded. That's what we were talking about earlier in that one. They have the 7th and 25th, and the other pick would probably be, in my opinion, or my best guess, a 3rd or a 4th. Oh, Connor, I think Bussy would absolutely benefit from another year starting in the AHL. There's a lot to learn, a lot to adapt to in the AHL game, let alone the NHL. But it really all depends. Maybe they go out and trade a Ullmark for a pick, another player, and then just a backup thrown in to be able to stay in the NHL for a year. So, like I said, lots of opportunity there. Yeah, Felix, the only thing I'm thinking about that is, too, that's what I want to see. The only thing is, I don't know if having that play out and then letting him walk, I don't think that's ideal. I think that the return right now would be too good to let him walk next season. I think the help for this year would be exactly what they need. Absolutely correct. They need more, they need a guy like Bertuzzi. They need someone who's gonna just dog it out every shift. Is just gonna go out, put everything on the line, come back and do it again the next shift. And Tyler Bertuzzi is a perfect example of that. Like, very well at the end of last season. I think that if he could do that next year, it'd be very, very good. Isn't Ilya I have no idea if he is. I honestly didn't know he had a kid. I mean, eligible is the correct word, yeah. If you mean like a possibility of entering, then yeah, he is likely eligible, I think. Yeah, I think Bertuzzi's the number one that everybody is kind of all on board with. I think we're all in the same boat when we say we'd love to have Tyler Bertuzzi back with this lineup. Cody, you just proved my point wrong. Well, most people are all kind of saying that it could be a better addition than some other one, just for the style of player that he is, and especially what we've seen at the end of last season. Yeah, but a lot of players, like I've been saying. Bertuzzi, Marchessault, Kane, Necas, Lindholm, Chychrun, Draisaitl, Stamkos. All of those guys really are possibilities. Chychrun maybe not so much, but if it does come down to that trade, getting that first round pick, that's likely the best option. Oh no, you're right, but like, yeah, you're right. He was not the player that it was back in the day, but right price is the key to that code. Yes, like if you can get him for a half decent price, make him play his style, and we see the one that we've seen at the end of the season in Toronto, I don't think that he'll be an overpay. I think that he'll be a great addition. But the odds of all that happening, I don't think is in our favor. Is I guess the best way to put it. All right, I'll do one more go over the players that we have here just before we head out, because I'm live about an hour and a half now, and my mouth is starting to hurt because my wisdom teeth are coming. So, yeah, I'll do a little breakdown. So, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Marchessault, Tyler Bertuzzi. Potential options for the Bruins summer via The Athletic. I think all are fair options. Patrick Kane, I would say the lesser of the three because of his age. He would be a certainly good fit, but he's a rental. That's what he's there for. Yeah, he's a rental. Jonathan Marchessault, Tyler Bertuzzi. I think two options that would certainly fit. Bertuzzi being the main option, Marchessault being probably a backup for whatever they want to do. Yeah, Bertuzzi, a long-term deal at a decent price. Hand feed me it. I'm down for it. Then we move on to Martin Necas with David Pastrnak. I believe Kane's like 35. Actually, I can tell you right now with the new graphics, courtesy of Ben Rogers from Raptors Digest. 35 going on 36. So he's going to be very, very old. Well, no, sorry. That's not old. For the NHL, it's old. But, as I said, a rental, still put up point per game at that age in Detroit, being have a better line mates and teammates on Boston, but still, it's one that you need to get it at a good price, but that's about it. But Martin Necas, a great addition, I think, would add to that Czechia line, make this team more chemistry based on these two just winning the World Championship. I dig it. I really dig it. This is one that I'm high on. And if it does come down to being this, I'm very, very, very okay with it. One moment. Okay. So, yeah, so Martin Necas, and then you also have the report where could have been traded for Ullmark at the deadline, but nothing ended up happening. All those rumors and everything, nothing came out of it. Same with LA. But apparently, reports have it that negotiations are going to open back up here in this offseason. Do I believe it or not? I believe they're going to come back, but I don't know if anything will come out of it. But then we move on to Elias Lindholm. Free agency test. Canucks are going to have to battle it out to re-sign him. Boston were in on him at the trade deadline. Nothing ended up happening, but they're still apparently going to be in on him here in the offseason and free agency. Necas to Boston would be great. I agree. I really, really agree. Like I said, I'm very high on him. As well as this man here, Elias Lindholm. I think he's a great addition on both sides of the ice for the Bruins. A lot of potential here. A lot of potential. Yeah, then we got Jacob Chikrin in that trade that I mentioned a few moments ago. Just this one here. This is interesting. I don't know if anything will really come out of it, but if we can take this into consideration, I think that 25th overall first-round pick, I'm okay with it. Jacob Chikrin, probably flip him, and another pick. So, I don't think that's a loss there, but like I said, I've been saying this entire stream and in just about every video after the postseason, it's only early. We really don't know what's going to happen. We don't know much of anything yet. It's all going to be very hit or miss of what we're projecting here, and we're going to know a lot more coming up soon. Lindholm was pretty solid. He played his role well. The Canucks were playing well as a whole as well. They played very good in the postseason, but yeah. But he played good. Best way to put it. And there's more that can come out of him. And I don't have a screenshot for this final one, but I do have the graphic, and of course, the very improbable one, Leon Draisaitl. Now, if this happened, as I said, I will eat my hat. This is going to be a very crazy one, but that's kind of just the fun one. That's kind of just the projection one, but yeah. We have a lot to talk about here, a lot more videos, a lot more streams coming. Yeah, Cody, that's the way it's going to work out. First signing, first trade, whatever happens, then it's go for it in this postseason. 10 points, 13 games, 50% of draws. Yeah, there you go. That's everything you need to know, really, about how he played. Exactly what he needed to do. 10 points in 13 games for defensive centerman. Can't complain about that. Will be awesome to get him. Yeah, July 1st, Brian. That's when all the free agency begins. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this one quits now. I've been live for a little over an hour and a half. So I think we had some very good discussions about what we're seeing in the offseason, what we're going to see hopefully pretty soon. A lot of moves still going to be made, not just by the Bruins. And then we could probably see a few things happen that we might not even have heard of right now, and that are all you haven't even heard of them yet. So I'm very excited to see. I'm expecting a big offseason. Don Sweeney has convinced me that he's going to be making some big moves. And if he does, he's a man of his word. So I guess only time will tell at this point, but you never know. You never know. I think we've heard it before from many other players, teams, coaches, GMs, and nothing happened. But we'll only have to wait and see now. But I do appreciate all of you guys being here for this stream. It was a very good one. Got a lot more players. I will, as I said, I'm trying to do some probably weekly streams. It's hard with work and everything, but I think that if one a week was possible, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, I think that's a pretty feasible one. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so I need to do more than just videos, and I need to get you guys in on the live conversation. So, like I said, I do appreciate all of you guys for being here. I'm going to head out now, and be sure to stay up to date for a video. I'm not going to have one out tonight, but tomorrow I will have one in the morning. Probably on that Patrick Kane one that we were talking about earlier, or the Jacob Chikrin, either one. I will keep you guys updated, but make sure to hit the sub button. Join the channel, but keep you guys updated with all of the Boston Bruins news, signings, trades, whatever's going to happen in the offseason. I'm here for it. I'm here for it for you guys, and I really enjoy talking about this team, and we have some big things coming. So I do appreciate all of you. Hope to see you in the next one.